What is
But
happening, Captain?
man, blessed to be here. Happy as all outdoors. How you doing? I
Man,
love
I'm.
that shirt. I gotta get one of those.
Oh, come on. I look at you and Jazzy Faye out of the A like y'all my fashion go-tos. I was waiting for one of
Hey
y'all to
man,
drop a clothing line.
that fat boy fly boy sweat. I don't have a line, man, but I'm gonna tell you, I found a cool brand on the internet, man, called Grand Culture. They make like street luck stuff, but it they start at XXL. I mean, the XL and go up. So
Okay.
I've heard they done some specialty pieces like for some people that are mediums that they like, but man, I'll send you their page. It's some cool stuff though. I rock it. I rock it. It's my
Yeah.
first.
That's
Yeah.
what's up, man. Hey, dog, I got to tell you, first of all, to have Denise's only son on with me right now, because I mean, we go back, and I'll tell you, like third leg Greg, when he was here with
Yeah,
me.
man.
You know what I'm saying? That
Absolutely,
entrepreneur
absolutely,
that is out there making things happen right now. So I
absolutely,
mean, you
absolutely.
with Big Boy coming doing last damn shows with us and stuff. It's
Yeah,
like, to see you in that space where you got this RTJ4 that drops, and then
yeah.
we in this world space where you got this voice. I just got to tell you, sit back. I'm proud of you, bro.
Oh man, thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. People know how much, man, Tampa St. Pete mean to me. My family down there, you know what I'm saying? People know how much Florida means to me. Just that Florida, and South. Like Miami has always been big because culturally they influenced Atlanta with the music. But all those spots, man, the Tampa, the St. Pete's, the Tallahassee, the Jacksonville's, the Orlando's, those cities made me. Gainesville, they gave me my career. You know what I mean? So I'm appreciative that you don't look like you've aged a day, and I find a new gray every day. So I'm glad it's been good. But I appreciate y'all because every step of the way where y'all could, even when I went pivoted more to an underground artist, if I came through town, an interview was given and support was given and help the wider audience know it's out there. So I'll never forget those things.
It's rap though, man. It's like it's real rap. Like
Yeah,
it's funny because I look at you and I'm just like, it's always been bars, but
yeah,
now it's almost like that 3-man weave with you and LP, like that give and go, where it's like, now I
yeah,
ain't got to do all 16. I'm about to hit you in the head with 8.
yeah.
Let
Well,
him get 8.
what it is like it's a great partnership. It's like our perfections and imperfections lock in with each other. You know what I mean? Like, as hard as I go, 16 bars are hard. Sometimes by the time the end of the record, people are like, whoo. But with L coming in and our styles contrasting and complement one another at points, it just feels, what we've been compared to are two groups I never compare myself to, but I appreciate the comparison as a study of rap because I get it. Or we've been compared to Outkast and the Beastie Boys. So when you listen stylistically to the Beastie Boys, you're hearing three interesting different styles interplay and intertwine with one another. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
when you hearing Outkast, you hearing different thoughts and different patterns. Like no one does a better multiple sitting pattern. Like no one does patterns as well as Big Boy. And no one creates deep, in-depth thought, almost like conversing like rap like Dre. So together, man, it was always some thoughtfulness and always some player shit, to be frank. So what I've enjoyed about being Run the Jewels is that balance that L and I have with each other. It's allowed me to be a freer artist. I'm happy for it.
It's crazy too, because when you look at it, it's almost like it's almost like the game of the chicken and the egg, because you want to know,
What
did the
kind of
verse
stuff?
come first or did the beat come first? Because it's like when you
What
got
a
a producer in there, it's like he can
Yeah.
mold it around your vocals.
Well, the beats. L goes off with Taco and Wilder, who are brothers and also assisting the co-producing. So it's a team. You know what I mean? It's all of us. We understand how each other thinks at this point. So L goes and locks away for months just working on beats, and he won't even play beats for me until he thinks they're of a certain caliber. And then he'll come in, and the
Right?
beat plays, and usually one or two things happen. He may have an idea, tell me idea, put it down, put something down, or I'll sit there and we call it catching the Holy Ghost when it's just like, is the mic on? Because I got to get it out now. And I
Yeah.
just go in the booth since I don't write, and it just kind of starts flowing and growing. And that's the way it works. Now, since L is an amazing producer, if there are little idiosyncrasies and things within the track that maybe a flow brings, a lot of times I'll find another pocket. Like if you listen to Just Money, I'm rapping with a southern bounce pocket anytime I'm on I'm
Yeah.
a right, but I'm over a beat that's not there. So he'll go produce, reproduce. I go back. He said, well, listen, I need you to be open-minded because I put a whole new track under the song. But I'm used to that because Ray Murray from Organized does the same. So I love it. It's a fun process because it's more like two 15-year-old boys locked in a room with a bunch of equipment all day. It isn't really serious. You know what I mean? We put serious subject matter in the music, but we enjoy the process of making music together. And we always get in the same room to do it.
You mentioned Just Money, and I got to tell you, I love that. I was like, who made this hook? Because the hook is fire.
Pharrell, man. Pharrell came in, he heard it, he loved it. Zach De La Rocha from Rage Against the Machine. This is a third appearance on a Run the Jewels record. You may as well say Zach's a third unofficial member because Zach, you know, people mistook him for just a rock singer. Zach's a hell of an MC. But Pharrell heard it and he said, I want to be a part of it. I want to do something for it. We were like, yeah. What's your email address? We sent it, and then Kawan Prather, who's in his camp. Kawan is, for people who may have heard his name before, KP the Great, is a DJ now, but he started his career as a DJ. Then he went on to A&R, such groups as Outkast, TLC, guy you may have heard of called Usher Raymond. So he's a brilliant, beautiful, genius, you know, music mind, and he's a friend of mine. And he was just like, man, this is the kind of thing I want to happen. So he works with Pharrell's camp, and as Pharrell was kind of traveling around the world, they were in the studio one night, and Pharrell said, "Pull it up, let's do it." And KP, you know, was like, he's gonna do it, and he didn't lie. It got done. So we're in a huge appreciation. We have a dope lyric video we just dropped to it, but there's going to be a real video too. The lyric video is absolute art though, so I encourage people to go on our YouTube and check out the Just Money lyric video because until we bring you the real video, it's amazing.
Yeah, I saw the clip that you put up on IG, and I was like, "Yo, this is major," because that made it even make more sense to me because of the viral kind of like, you know, alliteration of it and everything. I mean, Yankee and the Brave, ooh la la. I mean, DJ Premier, hello, like, come on, we talking producers.
Man, come on, man.
Like,
come on, man.
I mean, it's just crazy for you to have this, and it ain't a side project, it's your project. But man, for people that like of that caliber to be like, Pharrell, I want to get in, Premier, let's work. Like, you got to be looking like God smiling on me right now.
Oh man, I've been looking at, like, Run the Jewels has been together 8 years. Elle and I have been making music together 10 years. So he produced my Break Above Background album, rap music, rebellious African people's music that was put out through Adult Swim. And then we went on and, you know, the stories all over there that you can check it out. We went on to become Run the Jewels. So for 8 years, you know, this is, I thank God for the last 10 years. I thank God for all of it, because if I hadn't stumbled early in my career through no fault of my own and all accountability on my own, if I had not stumbled, I wouldn't have appreciated the situation I'm in. So I sit here today as Killer Mike, Shay's husband and one half of Run the Jewels. And when I go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'm going to be proud to have went in there with my friend and ally and partner and comrade, who we started this journey together. And I don't see us having to stop it till we got a lot more gray hair. You know, I want to be the AC/DC of rap music. I want to be in diapers on stage, killing it.
You know what? That's what they say when the Rascal Flatts say, "Bless the broken road." They got you here. You know what I'm saying? Like all of them potholes that got me here. Bless them.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Let's see here. Out of Sight. That's my joint too. Like, I mean, you know what I like about y'all production too? I know the sample, but it ain't the obvious sample. Like, y'all will take a sample and flip it and do some things with it where I'm like, yo, I know that record, but that ain't that record.
Yeah, it sounds like the old DLC record. It's a slightly different. It's a difference, but the feeling, and that best explains Run the Jewels. Like, we love Run DMCs, so we perform as two MCs in black denim and a DJ. But we add elements to our show that we brought from rock and roll that we love as well. We love Outkast and the Beasties, but we don't take their sound. We take inspiration from their art and we create our own sound and energy. So I'm glad that our music feels like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm glad the sound invokes that feeling, because what we are is a product of one of the golden ages of hip hop. And it's fun for us to, in our sound, to do the things that we heard our heroes doing. You know what I'm saying? Without, just swag swiping. But that feeling, that's what we want you to have, you know?
No, it's also dope too, because I heard y'all talking about one of the interviews when you were talking about a few words for the firing squad, and y'all was like, take off the capes, take off everything, absolutely. All of the superhero antics, and you be real.
Absolutely.
And the superhero antics is what I want to talk about, because it seems that y'all do all of this craziness in the record. It's like a movie.
Exactly.
You like, I'm like, they in the car, they busting shots, they doing this, they doing that, you know, and then y'all also are like the unicorns of this thing. Y'all, as far as hip hop, because y'all don't have to, like most dudes out here rapping, trying to live it. Y'all get to go in the booth, create this crazy anarchy, and then walk out and be on CNN and on Fox. You know
it's interesting. Like, you know, you kind of, as artists, you get it out. If you're a visual artist, you get it out on the canvas. If you're a recording artist, you get it out in audio. Sculpture, you get it out through form and sculpture. You know, and the artists who are trying to live it, a lot of them have lived it, a lot of them aspire to live something. But it's like the blues, man. You know, some bluesmen with Stagger Lee and really killed the man. Some bluesmen was singing about Stagger Lee. The thing is, Bun B told me a very long time ago, when Run the Jewels first started kind of popping, he said, you know, Mike, Outkast had a freedom that 8Ball and MJG and UGK did not. He said, we make amazing music. We've had amazing careers. And with that said, the world has decided simply who we are. That's who we are. And there's nothing wrong with that. Outkast audience always trusted them to go on the journey to discovering who they were. So me and Elle don't always know who the hell we are. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate that our audience following us and as we discover, because what we're doing is we're creating a world that could be, and it's not unreal, because when someone climbs a mountain and they throw this up at me, and on their Instagram you're seeing, hold on, this kid's on a mountain throwing up RTJ, or what the lawyer rightfully wins a citizen money owed from a corporation, and the first thing he can do is stand next to the judge and throw up RTJ. That means that the messaging in our imaginary world of being advocates for one another and loving one another and fighting like hell, even though you don't look alike, is pouring over to the real world. So I'm honored, you know what I'm saying? I'm very honored that we're allowed to, because your audience has to allow you to, you know what I'm saying? Which is why I love the groups that I love that we're allowed to, and which is why I value those that stayed the course that they were allowed to as well, because, you know, we need it. You know, rap groups need to exist because, to be frank, Black folks need to see you can get along with one another, and you can get along with other people in the case of me and Elle. And that's a beautiful thing about this world that we've created. It's based around a very real friendship. You know, our friendship is not anything contrived. Like, I love him. He's a white New Yorker who loves hip hop as much as a Black Southerner. We grew up at the exact same time. We're a month apart in birth. We know all the same influences, and we interpret them together. And it has made for a more powerful thing that I ever could have thought I had out of a solo career, and I'm very grateful for it.
Man, when you think about, I know when you talk about leaving Morehouse, and you like that break the family heart, and I'm like, yo, I'm sitting here like, when I left fam, my father was like, you gonna what?
Yeah, man. You
gonna be a DJ? What? And I'm like, nah, Dad, you don't understand. He's like, boy, I ain't send you all the way down there for you to do proms. You ain't gonna do no DJ, no prom.
Man, your dad hit you with the prom. You gonna go down there and do the 8th grade dance. Hey, man, a working class Black dad will make your dream feel this small. Now, doesn't mean you should dream big. But right. Just saying, they came up in an environment where they had to do it. They had to be leaders of their family and their clan. So when you go to talk about I'm a DJ, a dance, or sing, a rap, a tap,
I felt your pain when you was like, he was like, you know, Morehouse is like, that's like Harvard to Black people. And to walk away from that, and I'm sitting there like, oh, my father was like pissed. He was like, nah, bruh, no.
Oh, man. My father said, he say, son, you know they call it starving artists for a reason. But
exactly.
Years later, he sent me an article in which I was talked about as a leader. And he said, you know, I never didn't believe that you could rap. I know you could rap good. You know, my dad's a 70s dude, so he talks in rhyme anyway. He said, what's happening, Cat? Ain't nothing slick, Jack. Like, he talks, so naturally, I probably pick up the ability to put words together from him, right?
Slick.
But my mom was purely... Exactly. My mom was purely an artist, though. So she let me know to chase your art until the end. You know what I mean? So with him, he said in his article, he said, son, this is a leader. And he said, I'd leave you in a room full of kids when you were 4 or 5, I come back, you be telling those kids this is what we're going to do. And they'd be listening. He said, I've seen you as a leader your whole life. And that's what I was afraid that you would miss that. And by the time we got off the phone, we were both crying because I understood then that my father did not believe in my dream. He believed more in me than I even knew I was at the time. You know what I'm saying? And I was already an organizer at the time. So I knew how to organize, and I knew I could get people together, but I didn't understand what true leadership was. I didn't understand my importance to the greater community. And now I do, and I appreciate them for that. And for the people who we oftentimes, I got this in my comments, it was funny because you just said, what would Morehouse be like? Well, Morehouse like going to Harvard. People saw Harvard as something better sometimes, right? And I'm talking, people ain't talking about us. And one of the guys hit me on the comments, and he said, so what would it be like if a Black child got accepted into Harvard? I said, almost as good as going to Morehouse.
Morehouse can't get everybody in there.
Yeah.
Second choice is Harvard.
Yeah, exactly. So I want the people, all that to say, people who have went to HBCUs, I'm very proud of us. People who went and didn't finish. Don't worry, they got online courses now. I'm definitely gonna end up getting my degree from Morehouse before I get off this earth. And I'm proud of the young basketball athletes in particular that are choosing to go to Black College University, because you only have to sit out a year. It beats going to Europe and Australia. And man, it'd be lit. It ain't nothing like a Tuskegee homecoming or a FAMU homecoming. Like,
you mess around and put them stars in them gymnasiums and on that field, bro. They'll love you all the way to the pro, and then they ride out with you. You know, absolutely.
I
love it. I love it because like my pops put that in me the same way, and the way you are an activist or raptivist or politician. I told him like he a politician. That's what he is. You know, like, you know, this the way you speak and the way it's been instilled in you is the same way that I went on this radio path and left school, but still I'm able to do what I'm doing and have that voice of my father and have that voice of my parents, that education that we got. And you being in Front Street, it's like there's moments in hip hop that we look at. Eazy-E at the White House. LL Cool J back on the Grammys when he used to rap the rules. They like Price Waterhouse put the ballots in. And I'm like, hip hop is big, you know. And so when you look at these levels and you look at like you standing there with my FAMU sister Keisha Lance Bottom, and your city is burning. And you as Killer Mike is like, we gotta calm the city, Mike. We need you right here on national TV, everybody looking at you. Like, how that big moment right there has set you up. You've been set up with that, not just from Morehouse, but from a stock from your family.
It's my grandmother.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, to whom much is given, much is required. So how did that feel in that moment talking to your city?
Oh, I wasn't supposed to be there. I was. And
you kept saying it. I do not want to be
here. Absolutely. I have nothing good to say. Absolutely. Because that was the truth. I got to start from a place of truth. I was out, Tip and I, and a man named Noel Khalil, who's a developer out of here, all Black, bought a 50-year-old restaurant called Bankhead Seafood. And we're launching. We relaunched a food truck. We're going to begin the demo and building of a new building, and we're going to build a restaurant franchise. And it's going to be based on something a woman had for 30 years of her life, 50 years of her life, and the oldest reported business on Bankhead. So we're very proud. I was out with the truck. I had Nori had come up from Miami, so I was feeding him and his crew at the truck. We went to the studio to meet him there. So we're at Tip's studio. We're feeding rappers. I'm playing ambassador like you're supposed to do. And I'm just when I drank enough with the homies and let them eat some fish and took a puff or two, said, okay, it's time to go, guys. You know what I'm saying? Tip pulls up and he says, hey, you know, this is going on and the mayor would like you to come down, and I want you to come down with me. And as quoted by him in the GQ, I told him everything from absolutely not to that's not our MF&B job. That's not and you know, because I understand why people are in the streets protesting. I understand why people are angry, and I even understand why violence can happen. The point of my 8-minute and 40-something second speech, almost the amount of time that it took to kill George Floyd, that officer to kill him. The point of my speech was to simply say Atlanta is a fort for Black people. It is not perfect by any means. It has to get better. It has not always been perfect, but it has always been a place filled with opportunity for Black people. And there are other cities like that throughout the South. There's Daytona, there's Tampa, there's St. Pete, there's Tallahassee, there's Tuskegee and Montgomery and Huntsville, there's Charlotte and Columbia. I don't know if any are economically as powerful as Atlanta, simply because we have 3 of the most Fortune 500 companies there. So it's a lot of economy. So if we burn it to the ground and they do it like they did Detroit in the late 60s, you don't have any city left, then poverty and warfare and violence ensue. But if you keep your fortress a fortress and make sure that organizations like Paw Kids, which is Bankhead Seafood's neighbor, can help families eat every day, meet their nutritional needs, wash clothes, have housing. If you do that, you get to make sure that the working class and Black middle class can still sprout out of the city every few generations, as it should. Every 4 years, we should be doubling up new homeowners, things of that nature. So my appeal was to Black people saying this. That was my appeal. And bigger than that, it was now after this moment, though, where you're righteously angry and burning and hurting stuff. Plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize. When I say hurting stuff, I don't just mean buildings, because they tore up 2 Black restaurants. One of the Black restaurants is Dave's Philly, owned by a young Black man. Well, what does that matter, Mike? He had insurance. Well, he took his insurance money or whatever monies he got his windows replaced, and then he helped other businesses. Well, what does that matter? He's a business. Well, the young lady who was the mother of Rashad Brooks' children who got killed in that Wendy's, a car was bought for her and her children. He paid for half that car. So that's why destroying Black businesses doesn't make sense. Because within weeks of his business being burnt, the windows and it being almost torn to the ground, he had to then be a philanthropist. He didn't have to, chose to be, and not only help other businesses, but help this woman who just lost her man and their children's father. Whereas in a lot of us in our anger would not have thought of her. You get what I'm saying? So that my thing was saying that we have to plot, plan, strategize, organize, mobilize. Now that we've identified the problem, now that we've identified how we can help, who are we going to strategize with? Who are we going to organize with? And how are we going to mobilize? Because that happens at the end of plot, plan, strategize, organize, mobilize. You genuinely have the ability to capitalize. I was on the phone with Ice Cube yesterday morning, and this contract for Black America that I think is a beautiful idea he's put together. He came to me and said, hey, what are your ideas on this? It gives me an opportunity to now go to the ground people who are working in Atlanta. Right. People like Brother Kalanji, people like Brother Gary Davis, people like the sister over at the New Georgia Project, and say, what is it we need that will instantly change us? And then now report that back to him. If that's not the connection, if that's not the way we're doing it, then it's never going to fully work. Because as Fred Hampton said, you don't organize, for the people without educating the people. So that's all I really was telling people. That I'm with you. I understand it. But after today, we have to plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize in order to capitalize, or all this is for naught.
I love the fact that when you kept talking about that, and the sequence of it, because the first 3 are imperative. I mean, you can't just run out and be out. You can't just meet on the battlefield. You gotta.
Well, you can, but you want to win the battle.
Right. It's less effective if we coming up with the plays at the 50-yard line. So plot, plan, and strategize first. Let's be about business first before we move. Let's find out how we moving and where we moving.
Absolutely.
So we can get it done. And the people who were repeating, I've seen people with shirts with it on. Yes. And I was like, yo, I'm telling you, the first 3 are essential. You know what I'm saying?
Essential. If you look at the same people who organize street gangs can organize 501c3s, can organize a radio station, can organize a television station. The ability to organize is special. The ability to get humans to plot something out, to plan it out. And when you strategize, that means you're with other people that may have opposing views. So you need a person in the room to say, but you ever thought of, or from my perspective, you need that. But a lot of times we don't want to have that. We just want to get straight to the organizing and mobilize. So you organize a bunch of people that you agree with, right? And then you mobilize. And then someone like my manager, Will, comes up and he sees you organizing against circumcision of boys, and he goes to Family Dollar and he makes a sign that says, I appreciate my parents cutting off the tip of my people. And then you're pissed because maybe you didn't think, and that was a true story. He did. You have to say to yourself, well, what about the pro-circumcision crowd? And whether they, or you don't, but you have to organize to be effective. All jokes aside, plot, plan, strategizing, organizing, and mobilizing is one of the smartest things that we can begin to learn to do, because on a very local level in terms of elections, we can have a greater effect on the greater good of our community. I forget my brother's name right now, but he has the Florida, the restoration project for felons there. I'll get his name and I'll get it back down to you. Okay. His brother is absolutely amazing. He's gotten, I think, 1 million voters their right to register back. So imagine how that dynamically changes the politics in Florida. If you organize that vote, that radically changes that state.
So they say you can get more done with the individual fingers are all right, but that fist, collect.
That fist, oh man, that fist, man.
Come on, talk that talk.
Fist. Now, yes, sir.
Wait, I saw you involved last night with the tribute to John Lewis.
Yeah.
They ran that last night, Celebration of a Hero. And they talked about, you were holding up the sign, matter of fact, thanks John Lewis. And they were doing it during Pharrell's Happy. And it was interesting when they talked about he was protesting at an early age about the library, his library card, and he was protesting that he couldn't go to the library. And I was talking to somebody about that protest spirit that's in him. I mean, you talk about a child that felt, I have a voice and I know what's wrong is wrong. So when did Mike Render realize he had that voice?
Well, this is the thing about me. I just say God has probably been chasing me a long time. You know, like my dad said, he'd leave a room and come back and be, you know, like this kid has already figured out how to get the other kids to all want extra cake at the same time. You know, when I was in high school, and my brother Maud, who was formerly Chris Jackson, when he started protesting the national anthem, I organized me and my homies, we not gonna stand with the national anthem because my principal went insane. You know what I'm saying? So I was at about 14, 15 years old, I was invited to go to the Black Teams for Advancement National Conference, which was a self-organized group of young men. So schools in Atlanta are named for Black people. I went to Frederick Douglass. Our rival was Benjamin E. Mays. Both of these are lauded Black men in my community, but the rivalry starts, the fight starts, guns come into play, boys could hurt each other. So the older boys were like, we about to start sitting these little knuckleheads down and making them figure out a peace between each other, or we gonna beat them up. You know, nobody want to get beat up by a 12th grader. But I snuck to their conference. It was at Morehouse in the chapel. And when I got back, the counselor told me, well, if you don't keep coming to our meetings, I want to turn you in for cutting school. I said, but you asked me to go. He said, they don't know that. And so by then, you know, I thought I was thugging. So I ended up having to go. And I liked the organization. Within a year, I was national spokesman for that organization. Within another year, I had joined an organization called Kids for a Change, or that became Kids for a Change. And the late Jean Childs Young was a board member, and she believed, like Alice Johnson, who was my direct mentor, and who's directed, that you don't organize on the behalf of children. You organize with children. You don't organize on the behalf of people. You organize with them. And I've been an organizer ever since. Since I was 15 years old, I started organizing. And when I got a record deal, so about 10 years as an active organizer in some capacity, whether it was organizing the vote, helping labor unions, you know, and I'm talking about in the middle of still selling weed. You know, I still, you know, by day, I'm at Morehouse. I sell a little weed to the homies, and I still might have to get 50 old people out to the polls. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but by the time I became a rapper, I understood you can't be an organizer on a weekly basis. And I became more of a mobilizer, helping magnify messages that are out there and getting people the help they need.
It's an incredible thing, man, to be dope behind the mic and also behind the podium. It's an incredible thing because we don't see enough of it. We glamorize the jump shot. We glamorize a lot of things, but to be able, I was telling people, to be an orator. I mean, when you have a Kennedy, or you have a Barack Obama, somebody who's just well spoken, who can speak with passion and can move people with their words. It's hip hop.
Absolutely.
It's hip hop. It's poetry with griots. Absolutely. You know, I was talking to Corday the other day, and he was like, man, you said griot, and that blew my mind because Q-Tip was just telling me I'm a griot. He was like, you need to name your next album. Man. And it's like,
come on, little YBN.
Man. Corday, hey, man, I'm so much a fan of his, man, because he got so much to say. And I told him, I'm like, dog, he said, in this COVID, you don't want to be putting music out because it's just different. And I was like, bruh, you have a young voice that people need to hear. I don't care if it's a full album, whatever you got to say, you need to get out there. And I get that same spirit as a young Mike.
Yeah, thank you, man. I like that kid a lot. I like him. I listen to a lot of. I got a 13-year-old and 18-year-old, so I hear a lot of young, like young music. But but the music that's coming out, like, because I asked her, like, what you listen to? Oh, that's jam. You know what I mean? So I don't really have a filter. Like, I interviewed George Clinton. He told me one time, he says, if I hear something, man, and I don't know if I like it or not, I just ask my grandkids, what you think about this? And and that has kept him young and dope, you know, my whole life in terms of his musical taste. So for me, man, I let young people tell me. So Corday is somebody I got put on. So I really think he's dope. So if you hear this, man, salute to you, brother. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh, he'll definitely hear it, man. Because I really rock with him. I told him he was gonna walk across that Grammy stage when I heard his
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, and he when he got nominated, he was and straight up as 100 as he could be. He was on IG crying like, "Yo, man, this ain't supposed to happen."
Man. It feels good, man. We got nominated, and you know, I've won one. I've won one
with Whole World.
And yeah, the Whole World. But we got nominated for our song on Baby Driver with Danger Mouse and L, and I mean and Big Boy. And I really wanted to win. Like, I didn't even front. I was like, I want to win this. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Hell yeah, I want to win.
Yeah, you know, L was like, you know, man, I thought I was cool, but when we didn't win, I got mad as hell. I can't even lie. So for me, I look forward to walking across that stage, because the first time I didn't go. Jay-Z was like, we protesting, they not showing hip hop, and I was like, I'm with you, Jay, and I didn't go. And we ended up, I think, on Sunset partying and getting too stoned and drunk, and I woke up in a hotel with a woman.
I bet you made that Roots jam session though, didn't you?
Yeah.
now I also saw you involved with the Stockton on My Mind.
Yeah, with Michael Tubb. Yeah, Michael.
That's incredible. You talk about activism at any age, man. That's an incredible story. I mean, father incarcerated. You know, I mean, his mom took care of him, single mom home, and 26 years old, youngest mayor, black mayor of Stockton. It's incredible.
What I found impressive too, because a lot of times we hear single mom homes. What I found impressive though was the mother and the grandmother, because I was, you know, neither one of my parents raised me. My grandmother raised me. There is a foundation and a solidity that comes. Black families are matriarchal. You know, and I don't, you know, even in patriarchy, even where you have places where your big daddy or your poppy is very honored, there's still a shared power with the women in that family. And I was very proud to see that, because, you know, there's oftentimes a negative connotation on single parent, but his mother, although his father wasn't there, she was a strong praying woman, and the grandmother was too. So he's just from good stock, and you can tell. And when you're from good stock, you tend to not lean into your false insecurities or things you're absent, and you tend to enjoy what's present. And you can tell he enjoyed the love. You can tell he enjoyed, much like John Lewis, education, and he enjoys helping Stockton become more than a middle class or working class city that is an offshoot of the Bay. That he really is going to grow that city into something. And I'm honored by not only him, because his story isn't exclusive, but by brothers like Terrence Colbert up in Johnston, South Carolina, who started as an intern at Stankonia. I remember asking him, why do you want to be a producer, Terrence? It doesn't, you know, just why do you want to be a producer? I want to be a producer so I can make money, go home, and change my hometown. Now, he got nominated for a Grammy for Big Boy's record. He still does decent production. But his more important work to our people has been becoming mayor of Johnston, South Carolina, which is per capita America's, possibly the world's greatest peach producing town. He's bringing industry there, helped want to grow the community, became the youngest city council person, then ran for mayor. So although he never got rich to change the town, he has richly changed that town in terms of what young African-American kids and working class white people see in terms of Black leadership. I think it's amazing. And so it shows that Michael isn't exclusive, and that if properly used, local politics is all inclusive. And we should be running and winning elections as much as we can to try to help, you know, our community and the wider community.
I love it. I mean, you know, of course, I told you I was looking forward to chopping it up with you. I don't want to keep you too long, but I do want to.
I'm here as long as you need me to. It's you. Like, once I saw it was you, it's like, whatever you need.
it's all up. I wrote this verse down because this was so powerful. It's crippling to make you want to lean on the cup of promethazine.
Yeah.
But my queen said she need a king, not another junkie flunky rapper fiend.
Yeah.
But friends tell her I could be another Malcolm, he could be another Martin. She told her partner, I need a husband more than the world need another Martin.
Another Martin, yeah.
Bruh, Shay put one on you on that one.
I swear to God, her friend just left. Her friend is like her sister. My wife has all brothers. She didn't have sisters. So there are 2-3 friends that are literally like sisters to her. And her friend Shakari told her that, like, Michael could be a Malcolm Warren. And she just turned in. My wife, she's deeply country. She's Geechee. Her family's from South Carolina. She grew up, her dad's side, she grew up in the project in Savannah. So she feisty. She turned to her friend before you know, it was like snapping her fingers, like, I need a husband more than the world need another Marvin. And it was cold. It was, and I don't mean in a bad way, but it was Felicia Rashad Cosby show cold. It was,
you know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? It was like, hey, don't feel my husband's head up with these lofty ambitions of leadership, because his life is at line. We know he's a leader. That is going to come to him, but we're not going to rush to. Our friend said this 10, 12 years ago. Back when people were saying I was crazy for comparing myself in any way to saying, I remember doing an all hip hop article saying the things I say could get me killed. And like, I want to kill you. And the same people now like, Michael, protect your life. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
And on the other part was real because I had, back when I was coming through Florida hanging out, I was having too much fun. You know what I mean? I have to realize, my mother's an artist and an addict, and addiction and things like alcoholism running a lot of working class and especially Black families. Not good for us. And I took a dance with the devil in terms of drugs and, with pills and with lean and things of that nature. And, I remember Bun calling me, hitting me like, hey, little bro, you've been out in Houston for about a month. You had a lot too much fun. And I need you to know what this stuff is you're drinking. And, it is essentially heroin in your body once it gets in there. This is why the constipation comes. And he was answering questions before I even asked. And I just never got back into it. You know what I'm saying? But that part was very real because my wife had said to me, in matters of drugs, that's just the reason people see me get in the gym every day. I don't need a junkie or a flunky to another guy or whatever phase. Like I need a man. I'm not gonna accept nothing less than that. Absolutely. So we live in a very similar way, to my grandparents. I am the chief executive officer. My wife is the chief operating officer. So anything you ask me, just like Willie would say, let me go check with Betty, you got to check with Shay first.
But that's even you putting them up on game because there's a lot of cats out there that be like, don't ask me about my job. Don't tell me what I could do. But your rib.
Yeah.
She got to see your 6. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. That's all the time. Right. That's exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So when I heard that line, I was like, bruh, like how many people don't have that? I mean, look at Martin Luther King and all he did. Coretta, it took a strength for her to let him go. But there was strength in her to tell when she was like, I want you here.
Yeah, we wouldn't even be talking about Martin King if it had not been for his wife. And what I mean by this, my wife wears a shirt where I do Martin, Andy, Rap. She has a shirt with all their wives. So you get Coretta, Jean, like with all their wives on there. Because in our marriage, it's recognized just like they recognize in Kim and Kush, when you sell statues of men and women together, like I am nothing. I am literally nothing without my wife. I am incomplete, half of who I should be, not fulfilling my purpose as God saw fit. So, I have to make sure that balance stays. I'll have it no other way for me. And for people who don't want to have or need that, that's fine. You know what I mean? I don't need my wife paying half my bills. I'm gonna take care of that. What I need her mind free to do is to manage the things we're building. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make sure she don't have to change her oil. She makes sure I don't have to cook my sweet potato. And our marriage works out fine.
That's a great balance. That's a great balance right there.
Yeah.
Hey, now, I want to know, I know ain't no hate in your heart. I ain't never seen it ever. But when you see Kanye's name tossed into this thing, don't in the back of your mind, I know you ain't got to be a martyr or nothing, but in the back of your mind, don't you think, damn, I need to be in there at least to change the narrative of this race, or at least to add some stuff.
No, I have done my part twice. I tried very hard to get Sanders elected in 2016. I tried very hard around this time. Now, what I'm trying hard to do now is not be a part of a national conversation that will take away from the very real race we're having.
Local.
I don't think any third party member right now or anyone entering the race now honestly has a chance. So that's no shade on Kanye or the libertarian lady who I happen to like because she wants to abolish the ATF. I don't see a reason you know, that we need alcohol, tobacco, and firearms agencies. I like my alcohol. I should grow my own tobacco and leave my firearms alone.
Yeah.
But I think that the bigger conversation is for Black people. What is our contract with America? Like Ice Cube is talking about. What are candidates, no matter what their party, going to do for us in our community? And to the wider community that hears that, that's not saying that the wider, I'm saying wider, not wider. That's not saying that you guys aren't involved. It's just that if the African American community that's been depressed through no fault of their own for years and years and years, to things like redlining, taking of agricultural land back, unfair rental rates and things of that nature, if they're allowed to grow and prosper, and there's new barbecue restaurants, new strip malls, new things in that community, you get to use those communities too. They have to come up with more competitive price in your community. So it helps everyone out. So my thing is, who's going to give us that? And while we're figuring out who meets some of our demands, let's get behind the people who don't sing and dance, but they're doing an amazing job dancing between that aisle, getting work done. Well, who are those people? Nina Turner is amazing. She was a surrogate for Sanders. If you guys have never heard her speak, go listen to her podcast. She just had Cornel West on there. Check out Nina Turner. Nina Turner is who I feel should be president of the United States in 2024. I'm going to say that now. I'm going to say that every interview I get an opportunity to, because in talking about Kanye West, which is nothing wrong. I love Kanye. I love his aspirations. No matter if you believe him or not, that young man has aspirations, and we all should dream so long.
And we all should have a right to. Yeah, we all got that.
Absolutely.
Right. Absolutely.
It's just that in matters of our business now. You know, I like my cousin that get drunk and sing and say all kind of wild shit at the funeral. But in matters of business, who is the best person to handle our business in DC? And for me, Nina Turner would be that person.
That's incredible, bro. Like I said, when I see that, like I don't think any third party candidate is gonna have a shot. But
not right now, but it's possible.
Not now. With the way we sit in this current state. But when I was sitting there and I'm like, man, the opportunity to move the conversation by being involved. I'm like, if we did have somebody who had a little bit more to say, or a little bit more, you know, kind of oomph to it. Yeah. And I was like, man, Mike, if you was in there, like, and not that Shay's gonna be like, listen, no.
Well, I mean, she's told me, my wife just said, you're not gonna straddle the fence on this kind of stuff. She takes it as seriously as I do. So she's just like, when it's time for you to evolve into politics, she says, okay, well, we know at some point, you know, she's like, your interests won't let you not be. You sing and dance, you're not happy, you own a business. You're learning how to be a businessman, you're not happy, you want. She said, so I know you're going to be happy at public policy shit, but that's not going to be until that's all you do. She's like, I'm not going to have you distracted from doing a good job on the behalf of people who grew up like us and our grandparents, our parents. I'm not going to have you distracted by doing music and having to go DJ or a party. I'm not going to have you distracted by the business is still going. She says, you're going to be ready to when you do. And I've made that commitment to grow my career in business to the point that I feel like I've apexed or peaked or built a plateau for myself that stands firm forever, foundation. And then I get an opportunity to serve the public, you know?
Man,
and I hope I'm serving the public well now.
I think you're serving them well, man. And I got to tell you, I heard you working out too, so I'm glad to see.
Yeah, I'm at 37 pounds down.
We both fighting, man. We both.
You looking great. You the whole.
I've been doing keto. Right, I've been on keto since February of 2019.
Really?
And so I'm down 123 pounds right now.
So you gotta send me some recipes. You got my information, all right?
Yeah, I'll send them to you.
Okay, yeah, shoot me to let me. Yeah, I'm interested in trying it out.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that, man. It's a pleasure to talk to you, family.
I love it.
When we get through with all this world's flu and everything, we gotta get you down here and do some incredible things, man.
Yeah, I'm coming down there looking for some properties. A shout out to Kenny Russian, man, for real estate guy down there. Kenny's a good dude. But I'm coming down there. Yeah, Kenny's a great guy. Make sure you add that, man. Kenny deserves a shout out.
That's what's up. Absolutely.
He's one of the real ones down there. I can say it's a lot of shiesty in real estate I've seen, but that brother's about his business. You know what I mean? Don't let the Cartiers and snakeskin fool you. That he earned his. He didn't just burn nobody for his. But we'll be looking for a house down there in the next couple of years, so you'll see a lot more.
Okay. All right. Hey, this is Mike Render, aka one half of RTJ. You know,
absolutely.
Run the jewels. Y'all cop that RTJ4. Everybody out there be clear. But this is Denise's only boy. and this is Jay's
Absolutely.
better half. He is the one standing right there to her side. So, brother, I appreciate
Absolutely.
you, man. All
Love you,
right,
man.
give the family my best.
I definitely will. Peace.
All right, now.